able to judge that myself. It felt like a lot.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some of it. If you can turn to page 45, please, in front of you. It's page 12 of the document. There's 4 transcript
Oh, I
pages.
see page 12 of the document, certainly.
Yes, sir.
Oops. Hold on. Yes, sir.
And
12 of the document, you say?
yes, in the lower left corner, there's a page 45. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you see that on the bottom of that page, there's a discussion of Paul Bettnay and the drugs that you did together. And there was a question. The question is, any sort of pills? And your answer is yes. There could have been Xanax, or if he asked for Xanax or Adderall, whatever, I would, of course, give it to him. Question, so you would supply Paul Bettnay with whatever medication or controlled drugs he asked for, is that right? Answer, if he was feeling anxious or if he was feeling unpleasant, I would give him what he asked for. Question, would you give him a Xanax? Answer, yes. Did I read that right?
You certainly did, yes, sir.
And you shared, the two of you shared an enjoyment of controlled drugs or alcohol at that time, right?
The two of us were making a film together.
With respect, sir, that wasn't my question. My question was the two of you shared an enjoyment of controlled drugs and alcohol at that time. Yes or no?
At times.
Yes. And Ms. Hurd was quite adamant that you didn't drink anymore and that you should stop using recreational drugs, right?
Oh, yes.
And she didn't like it when you were high on drugs or drunk on alcohol, right?
She didn't like it when it was her perception that I was high on drugs. Okay. Her perception is quite different than the truth.
And that's what we're after, is the truth. Let's turn to, can you pull up Exhibit 178, please, Michelle?
Is that Defendant's 178 or?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's all right, I just want to make sure.
Oh, I see.
Mr. Depp.
Objection, Your Honor.
All right.
Can we approach, please?
Okay, sure.
Mr. Depp, this is a text message exchange that you had with Paul Bettnay on June 11th, 2013, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Your Honor, permission to move for admission of redacted Defendant's Exhibit 178 and permission to publish, please.
We, based off of Your Honor's ruling,
All right.
that's fine.
178 with redactions.
Michelle, could you please blow up the first text at the top? In this text, Mr. Depp, you text Mr. Bettnay, "Let's burn Amber," 3 exclamation points, right? You see that?
I do see that.
And at this time, June 11, 2013, Amber is your girlfriend or perhaps even your fiance at this point, correct?
Girlfriend,
Yeah.
for sure.
And you didn't stop when you said, "Let's burn Amber." Because the next text down, you can move down and blow up the next text, please, Michelle. You say, "Let's drown her before we burn her," 3 exclamation points. Did I read that right?
Yes, it's referring
And-
to the
and you
text
didn't-
prior to.
You didn't
From Mr.
stop when you
Bettnay.
said, "Let's drown her before we burn her." After that, you made another comment, and I'd like to apologize to the court and to the jury for some of the language that I'm going to have to use today, but unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of documents with language like this. After you said, "Let's drown her before we burn her," Mr. Depp, you said, "I will fuck her burnt corpse afterwards to make sure she is dead." That's what you said that you would do after you burned her and after you drowned her. Did I read that right?
You certainly did, yes.
And you wrote that about the woman who would later become your wife.
Yes, I did.
Can you pull up Exhibit 245, please? Your Honor, there's been no objection to this exhibit, and so I'd move for its admission and ask for permission to publish to the jury.
Give them a moment to.
There's no objection.
Your Honor, we have no objection to the portions that have Mr. Depp's text messages, but at the bottom portion, there is some from his daughter that we would ask be redacted.
The last 2.
And Your Honor, that's okay, but there was no objection to this
I
on the
understand, but
exhibit list.
they don't appear to be relevant, which,
That's fine. We're happy to redact those.
okay. So 245 in evidence with the redactions. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Depp, the top text message, we're going to focus on a couple of these, but the top text message is a text from you to Paul Bettnay on May 30th, 2014, correct? Might need to scroll over, Michelle.
May 30th, 2014, yes.
And you recall that you testified yesterday about the flight that you took from Boston to Los Angeles on May 24th, 2014, right?
Yes.
You remember that? Okay.
Yes, I did.
And you testified yesterday that you didn't have any drinks before that flight, or maybe you had a glass of champagne or something. Remember giving that testimony?
Yes, I believe I said I had a glass of champagne on the plane.
Right. So in this text, if you could blow up, Michelle, please, that top text. On May 30th, 2014, you texted Mr. Bettnay, just a little bit smaller. You texted Mr. Bettnay, "I'm going to properly stop the booze thing, darling. Drank all night before I picked Amber up to fly to LA this past Sunday." ugly mate, no food for days, powders, half a bottle of whiskey, 1,000 Red Bull and vodkas, pills, 2 bottles of champers on plane, and what do you get? An angry aggro engine in a fucking blackout, screaming obscenities and insulting any fuck who got near. I'm done. I'm admittedly too fucked in the head to spray my rage at the one I love. Read that again. I'm admittedly too fucked in the head to spray my rage at the one I love. For little reason as well. I'm too old to be that guy, but pills are fine. Did I read that right?
Yes, you did.
And when you said pills are fine, this was when you were just starting treatment with Dr. Kipper to try to get off of the pills that you testified about yesterday, right?
This is when I was still on the roxicodone. It was before the detox on the island, yes.
Right, and you testified that when you were in Boston filming Black Mass, which you flew from Boston to LA, that you had just retained Dr. Kipper to help you try to combat that pill problem, right?
Yes.
Could you go 2 texts down, please, Michelle? And this is a text that you sent on June 8th, 2014, just scroll over, to Patty Smith. You see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And in this text, I won't read all of it, but you say this, I'm going to just read the first paragraph. My darling Patty Lee, I miss you and worship you, and there is nothing wrong between us. Never, ever could that happen. I've just been so beyond busy with film here in Boston and then back to LA for kiddies. When I was in NYC, they were brief visits and fucked and charged by horrific fights with Amber. I fucked up and drank and got shitty. Was so disappointed in myself. Actually, almost walked to your place at about 3:30 a.m. the last time I was there, unable to stop tears. Did I read that right?
You did.
Michelle, can you please take that down and let's pull up Exhibit 325, please.